The Kingdom of Folded Pages. Kiret loved stories more than anything. She could spend hours under the old oak tree, lost in the pages of a thick book. Her little brother, Prabal, preferred adventures he could touch. He zoomed his wooden planes through the tall grass, making loud engine noises that occasionally made Kiret jump. "Look, Kiret, I'm flying over the mountains," he shouted. But Kiret was already miles away in a kingdom of clouds. Suddenly, Prabal's plane hit something hard hidden deep within the tree's roots. He tugged away a thick layer of moss to reveal a heavy silver key. "A treasure," he whispered, his eyes wide. Kiret looked up from her book, the sunlight filtering through the leaves onto her face. She leaned in close, realizing the key was etched with tiny, swirling patterns that looked like rushing water. They followed the direction the key seemed to point, leading them to a forgotten corner of the garden wall. Behind a heavy curtain of ivy, Kiret found a tiny, keyhole-shaped crack in the stone. She stood tall, pulling back the thick vines with both hands. "I think this is what the stories talk about," she said breathlessly. The key turned with a satisfying click, and the wall swung open like a heavy book. Prabal took the first step inside, his mouth hanging open in wonder. They weren't in the alleyway anymore. They were in a forest where every leaf was made of crisp, folded paper, and the grass felt like soft velvet ribbons under his feet. As they walked deeper into the white forest, a large creature stepped onto the path. It was a tiger made of thick cardstock, but it looked sad and unfinished. It had no stripes at all. Kiret stepped forward bravely, placing a gentle hand on the tiger's paper shoulder. "Hello," she said. "I am Kiret, and this is Prabal. Why are you so quiet?" The tiger, whose name was Aru, bowed its head. "The great ink wind blew through the woods and took my stripes away," Aru the tiger sighed, his voice sounding like the rustle of dry leaves. Prabal reached out and patted the tiger's nose. He wasn't scared at all. "Don't be sad, Mr. Tiger," Prabal said, his voice bright. "We are very good at finding things. We found the key, didn't we?" Kiret looked around and spotted a series of floating stone platforms hovering over a river of blue ink. Each platform had a different riddle carved into it. The stripes must be on the other side, Kiret realized. She began to calculate the distance, jumping carefully from one floating stone to the next, her movements precise and confident. While Kiret navigated the floating path, Prabal explored the paper bushes along the shore. He spotted something glowing deep inside a thicket of folded ferns. He crawled on his hands and knees, reaching deep into the paper leaves until his fingers closed around a heavy glass jar. It was filled with shimmering, midnight black ink. Prabal brought the jar back to the clearing. Kiret knelt down beside Aru and dipped a long, white feather she found on the ground into the ink. With a steady hand, she began to paint bold, elegant stripes along the tiger's back. "Hold still, Aru," she whispered, focused on her work. Prabal wanted to help too. He dipped his fingers into the jar and pressed them against the tiger's paws, leaving small, star-shaped prints. Aru began to purr, a deep sound that made the paper trees vibrate. As the stripes appeared, the tiger seemed to grow stronger, his paper body turning a vibrant, warm orange. Aru, now bold and beautiful, led them back to the hidden door, just as the paper sun began to set. "You have brought color back to my world," the tiger said gratefully. Kiret took Prabal's hand, pulling him close as the gateway began to glow. "Come on, Prabal. Mom will be calling us for dinner soon." Back in their own garden, the sun was low, and the ivy was just ivy again. But as they walked toward the house, Kiret noticed a small, perfectly folded paper crane perched on Prabal's shoulder. She didn't say a word, just smiled at her brother. They went inside, the silver key tucked safely away in Kiret's pocket, ready for the next chapter.